Hello friends, I welcome you all to today's lecture on Mitakshara Hindu Joint Family Property. The main objective of this lecture is to acquaint the students with the concept of Hindu joint family property under Mitakshara School of Law and also to explain its features and types of Hindu joint family property. The Mitakshara joint family is an integral and the most fundamental aspect of Hindu life, forming the basis of its jurisprudence. In other systems of law, modern or ancient, there has ever existed or exists something like the Hindu institution of joint family. It is so much characteristic of the Hindu way of life that for a Hindu there is no escape from the joint family. Probably the only way the joint family can come to an end is by the total extinction of male line and the failure of the females to induct a male. To begin with, a joint Hindu family consists of a common ancestor and all his lineal male descendants up to any generations together with their wife or wives and unmarried daughters. However, on the death of the common ancestor, the joint family does not come to an end. It continues almost till eternity so long as there is no partition or male line does not become extinct. It may be noted that in case of upper links being swapped due to death or otherwise, the lower links gets added and thus continues the Hindu joint family forever. It is a unique feature of the composition of the Hindu joint family that even an illegitimate son is a member of his father's joint family, and widowed daughters may return to the father's house and become entitled as member of the joint family to maintenance. Now the question arises, what is the legal status of the joint Hindu family? Whether it is like a firm, company or an association of the persons or a body of individuals. Though under section 2 subsection 31 of the Indian Income Tax Act 1961, the Hindu undivided family has a definite legal status for the purposes of the said act. It does not differ from other legal entities in more than one ways. The legal formulation of the joint family system is based on status of the parties rather than their inter se mutual agreement, which is the character feature of other combinations like a firm, a company, a society or a club. In the joint family system, no outsider, except of course by adoption, can ever become a member of the joint family. Characteristics of Hindu joint family property. The Mitakshara school of Hindu jurisprudence is predominantly based on propounded philosophy of joint ownership and common possession. Accordingly, the concept of joint family has to be understood in that perspective. Given this underlying policy, the law has taken due care to put it on sounder basis to subserve the cause of modern society. The courts by and large have taken cue from the old scriptures to lay down its foundations in our legal system. The Supreme Court has taken the lead in this direction by clearly delineating its path of progressive and pragmatic implementation. In Mudi Govda versus Ramchandra, the court held, there is no presumption that a Hindu family, merely because it is joint, possesses any joint property. The burden of proving that any particular property is joint family property is therefore in the first instance upon the person who claims it as co-partnership property. But if the possession of a nucleus of the joint family property is either admitted or proved, any acquisition made by a member of the joint family is presumed to be the joint family property. This is however subject to the limitation that the joint family property must be such as with its aid the property in question could have been acquired. It is only after the possession of an adequate nucleus is shown that the onus shifts on the person who claims that property as self-acquisition affirmatively to make out that the property was acquired without any aid from the family estate. Guided by this formulation given by the apex court, various high courts have followed the suit. The Bombay High Court in Gulab Rao Bhagat versus Bhagwan Nana Bhagat has held that unless a partition is proved, there is a presumption in Hindu law that the family continues to be joint and the property is joint family property. This presumption is the strongest in the case of father and sons and becomes weaker the further one goes down the line. Thus, in the instant case where the partition allegedly having taken place in the past without there being an unambiguous intention to depart and separate was held not to constitute the actual partition. In view of this, the court held it to be a joint family property on the analogy of the Supreme Court decision cited above. The burden of proof that any particular property is joint is upon the person who claims it as co-parcenary property. However, if the possession of a nucleus of the joint property is either admitted or proved, then any acquisition made by a member of the joint family is presumed to be joint property. Thus, mere existence of nucleus is not enough to hold that property is acquired from the income of nucleus unless there is also proof of sufficient surplus income from which the property could be acquired. The legal position was reiterated in Ambika Prasad versus Chun Yadav, wherein the plaintiff alleged that the plot in question was purchased from independent income of his ancestor after separation, and so should be excluded from auction sale in the execution of the money suit. He had to show that the purchase was made after separation, however, produced no evidence. On the other hand, there was evidence on the record showing that the joint family possessed sufficient nucleus to purchase the plot and the separation took place after the purchase. The court held that the plaintiff could not discharge the onus of proving that the plot was exclusive property of the plaintiff's ancestors, and so it would be deemed to be joint family property. Similarly, the Madhya Pradesh High Court in Sardar Harbans Singh versus Shailesh Chand Gupta, the Madhya Pradesh High Court held that when a co-parcenary is partitioned between two brothers and the only daughter of one of them inherits as an heir, she becomes the full owner. Such property gifted by her to the defendant cannot be said to be co-parcenary property in the hands of the defendant. Self-acquired property acquires the status of joint family property only when there is a clear volition and intention on the part of the owner surrendering his right by throwing the property in the common stock. Now friends, we will be discussing types of Mitakshara joint family property. The joint family is well recognized under Hindu law, but it has been accepted with little bit of differences by various sub-schools of Mitakshara school. It will be desirable to go through in brief with different types of joint family system applicable under the Hindu law. There are various types of Hindu joint family properties: ancestral property, property obtained on partition, property received in gift, property acquired by co-partners, joint family property exchanged for another property, property thrown into the common stock and blended property, recovered joint family property, and finally accretion. Ancestral property. Broadly speaking, any property inherited from any ancestor or ancestors may be called ancestral property, but that is not the sense in which the term is used in Hindu law. In fact, it is this broad meaning of the term that has led to some confusion. For clearing doubt, we will discuss it under two headings: property inherited from paternal ancestor. All property inherited by a male Hindu from his father or father's father or father's father's father is ancestral property. The essential feature of ancestral property according to the Mitakshara law is that the sons, grandsons and great-grandsons of the person who inherits it acquire an interest in it by birth. The rights are attached to it at the moment of their birth. Thus, if A inherits property, whether movable or immovable, from his father or father's father or father's father, it is ancestral property as regards his male issue. If A has no son, son's son or son's son's son in existence at the time when he inherits the property, he holds the property as absolute owner thereof, and he can deal with it as he pleases. But if he has sons, son's sons or son's son's sons in existence at the time, or if a son, son's son or son's son's son is born to him subsequently, they become entitled to an interest in it by the mere fact of their birth in the family, and A cannot claim to hold the property as absolute owner, nor can he deal with the property as he likes. Property acquired by a father by adverse possession would not be ancestral property in his hands, and his sons would not take interest in it by birth. Property inherited from maternal grandfather. The property inherited by a person from his or her maternal grandfather is not an ancestral property. The property inherited from collaterals, including the maternal grandfather, will not be an ancestral property. Property obtained on partition. The property obtained by a co-partner on the partition of the joint family property has dual character. In respect of his own son, son's son, and son's son's son, he takes it not as his separate property, but in respect of all others, including his father and brothers from whom he had separated, he takes it as his separated property. For example, a co-partnership consists of A, his two sons B and C, and four grandsons BS, BS1, CS and CS1. A, B and C on partition, each of them get 1/3 property. This property will be joint family property in the head of B in respect of his sons BS and BS1. Similarly, in the hand of C, the property will be joint family property in respect of CS and CS1. But in respect of A and all others, it will be separate property. The 1/3 property obtained by A will be separate property of A in respect of B, C, BS, BS1, CS and CS1 and all others. But if A gets another son, it will again become the joint family property. Property jointly acquired by co-partners. When co-partners jointly acquire some property without the aid and assistance of the joint family funds or property, then the presumption is that the property so acquired is joint family property in which their sons acquire an interest by birth. However, if it is established that the co-partners wanted to acquire the property as their joint property as distinguished from the joint family property, then such property will be joint property. Property exchange for joint family property. It is a settled position of law that any property which is obtained in exchange of joint family property, movable or immovable, will be joint family property. Property thrown into the common stock and blended property. Since under Hindu law, a Hindu male may hold his separate property as well as an interest in the joint family property, it can happen that he may deal with both properties together, or by his act or conduct may throw his separate property into the joint property. This is known as throwing into the common stock. Blending is also an expression for the same thing. When two properties, joint family property and the separate properties, are mixed together, it is known as blending. It may be noted here that the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, following the judgment of the Apex Court, made an important decision pertaining to the doctrine of blending in Balakram versus Shivram, whereby it made it clear that doctrine of blending postulates that any property of a member of joint family or of a co-partner may become joint family property if it has been voluntarily thrown by such member into common stock with the intention of abandoning of separate claims upon it. A clear intention to waive off separate right by a member for such property is to be established. Recovered joint family property. When some joint family property is lost and some co-partner recovers it without the aid and assistance of the fund of the joint family, it can be treated as a self-acquired property of that co-partner. Last but not the least is the accretions which may accrue on the joint family property by way of accumulations of the income of the joint family property purchased or acquired with the income of the joint family property and Sale proceeds of the joint family properties. Now friends, we will be discussing difference between Mitakshara and Dayabhaga schools. The Mitakshara school recognizes the obstructed and unobstructed heritage, wherein both joint family property and self-acquired property is possible. As against this, the Dayabhaga school does not recognize this classification. According to the Dayabhaga, all heritage is obstructed, for according to the doctrine of that school, no person, not even a son, takes an interest by birth in the property of another. The Dayabhaga does not recognize the principle of survivorship. It recognizes only the right of succession, and this accrues for the first time on the death of the last owner. In conclusion, we can say that Mitakshara joint family system is a unique concept which is not found in other associations based on social bonding prevalent in the rest of the world. It is an important institution in India based on status rather than contract. The members of the family generally have a common male ancestor and form a co-partnership. The joint family is generally run by a manager, also known as Karta of the family, who has the onerous job to manage and administer the joint family property. Under Hindu law, there is a presumption that every Hindu family is joint. The joint and undivided family is the normal condition of Hindu society. However, the possession of joint property is not a requisite for constitution of joint family. Hindus get a joint family status by birth, and the joint family property is only an adjunct of joint family. With this, I conclude today's lecture. Hope you have understood fully.